System integration is where ERP projects go to die, not because it's technically impossible, but because everybody assumes someone else is handling it. The ERP vendor assumes your IT owns it, IT assumes the vendor included it, your other system vendors assume it's not their problem. 3 months before go live, someone finally asks, how does payroll actually get to the bank? And the room goes silent. By then, you're out of time and out of budget. Let me explain why integration is the thing that kills projects. Every enterprise system connects to other systems. Your ERP doesn't exist in isolation. It talks to your bank for payments and reconciliation, your payroll processor for salary disbursement, your HR system for employee data, your utility billing system for revenue, your budget system for appropriations, your pension system for retirement contributions, state reporting systems for compliance, GIS for asset locations, your work order systems for maintenance cost. And that's just the beginning. That's just 9 integrations minimum for a typical municipal ERP. Larger organizations might have 20 or 30. Each integration requires an understanding of what data needs to flow, mapping fields between systems that don't speak the same language, building the connection, API, file transfer, middleware, testing with real data, error handling when things go wrong, ongoing maintenance as systems change. Now, multiply that by the number of connections. That's your integration scope. Now, here's the problem. Nobody owns this. Your ERP vendor scopes their system. They'll say we have APIs available or that we've supported standard file formats. That's not the same as we'll build your integrations. Your IT team manages infrastructure. They might know the other systems, but they probably don't have developers who build integrations. Your other vendors, the payroll company, the utility billing system, they're not part of this project. They're not even in the room. So integration falls into a gap. Everyone assumes someone else is handling it. The project plan says integration is a line item. Nobody asks what that actually means until it's too late. And this is how projects that are on schedule suddenly discover they're 6 months behind. Here's the pattern I see consistently. Agency implementing a new financial system, good vendor, experienced team, solid project management, on schedule, on budget, 4 months from go live. The project manager is doing a final readiness review. She's going through the checklist. Training schedule, data migration plan, testing underway. She gets to integrations and pauses. The line item says integration development and testing, IT. She realizes she's never actually seen the integration plan. So she calls the IT director. Can you send me the integration specs and timeline? Long pause. What integration specifically? She lists them. Bank files for AP disbursement, payroll feed to ADP, budget interface to the state system, utility billing revenue import, HR employee sync. And the IT director says, well, I thought the vendor was handling those. Now, this is a failure on the project manager, by the way. She calls the vendor's project manager. What's the status of the integrations? Vendor says we've provided our API documentation. We're ready to support your IT team when they're ready to connect. When they're ready to connect, she feels the ground shifting. Isn't building the integrations part of your scope? The vendor says our scope includes providing integration capabilities, APIs, and file import export. Building the connection to your specific systems is typically customer responsibility. And that's how it was spec'd in the contract. So she pulls the contract. Section 4.3 says, vendor will provide standard APIs and file exchange capabilities. Customer is responsible for integration development to third-party systems. It was right there. Nobody had flagged it. She now has 4 months to build 7 integrations that nobody has started designing. With an IT team that doesn't have integration developers connecting to systems whose vendors aren't engaged. Emergency assessment. So what would it take? The bank integration alone requires understanding the bank's file format, mapping every field from the new ERP's payment output, building transformation logic, testing with the bank, and setting up secure file transfer. A minimum 8 weeks with experienced developers. The payroll integration requires coordination with ADP, a company that wasn't part of this project and had their own timeline for engagement. ADP's professional services team has a 6-week lead time just to start. The state budget system requires certification. The state didn't just accept any file. You had to go through their testing and approval process. That process typically takes 3 months. So the PM does the math. Even with parallel work streams, even with contractors, even with everyone moving as fast as possible, the integrations needed 6 to 8 months. She had 4. The project went live 4 months late. The integration budget, originally $50,000 as a line item nobody owned or scoped, ended up at $380,000. Emergency contractors, weekend work, expedite fees with third-party vendors. So the total project cost overrun was about $450,000, and most of it was integration. Now let's talk about how this works when someone actually thinks about integration from the start, makes it a part of the project plan, talks to all the vendors. It's a different agency, similar scope, financial system replacement. But the project manager had been burned before on her previous job. She had lived through an integration disaster. She wasn't going to repeat it. Before the project even kicked off, during procurement, she required vendors to specifically address integration in their proposals. No, not we have APIs. Instead, describe your approach to the following specific integrations. Integrations were part of the requirements definition. Identify what's included in your scope. Identify what requires customer effort. Provide estimated level of effort for each. She made vendors commit in writing to what was and wasn't included. So during project initiation, before any configuration work started, she ran an integration discovery workshop. Every connected system was identified, not just the obvious ones. She went to each department and asked, what systems does finance touch? She found 3 integrations that weren't in anyone's documentation. And for each integration, here's what she documented. What data flows in which direction, how often, a data flow map. What system is the source of truth? What transformations or validations are required? Who owns each side of the connection? What happens when errors occur? She then classified each integration by complexity. Standard is pre-built connector exists or simple file format, low risk 2 to 3 weeks. Moderate would require custom mapping, but well-documented APIs on both sides. Medium risk 6 to 10 weeks. Complex integrations, significant transformation logic, legacy system with limited documentation, or third-party coordination required. High risk 3 to 6 months. Her 7 integrations broke down as 2 standard, 3 moderate, 2 complex. And she built the complex integrations into the critical path. They started in month 2, not month 10. The state certification process that took 3 months, she initiated before configuration was even complete. She assigned clear ownership. Each integration had a named owner, not IT as a department, but James, the integration lead. Each integration had a named counterpart at the connected system. She budgeted realistically, not $50,000 for a line item, instead $180,000 based on actual complexity assessment. Still the same project, she just allocated budget to match reality instead of hope. The result was that integrations were tested before go live, not frantically debugged during go live. So the 2 complex integrations had issues, they always do. But she'd built buffer time. Issues were resolved before they became crises. Total integration cost came to about $200,000, slightly over budget, still dramatically less than the first agency's example, $380,000. And the go live was on time, not 4 months late. Same project type, same integration complexity, completely different outcomes. The difference was treating integration as a first-class workstream from day one, not an assumption that someone else is going to handle it. So here's how you do this. Use this on every implementation. This is a framework. The first step is integration inventory. Before the project starts, as you're doing your requirements definition, you need to map every system connection. This can come out of your process mapping when you're studying existing systems and processes. Everyone, go to each department and ask, what data comes from finance? What data goes to finance? What systems do you use to interact with financial data? You'll find integrations nobody documented. The export someone runs manually every month. The spreadsheet that bridges 2 systems. The temporary workaround from 2015 that's now mission critical. Write them all down. If data flows between systems, it's an integration, even if it's currently manual, and that includes spreadsheets. Step 2, integration specification or requirements. For each integration, document the scope, what fields, what records, all transactions or just certain types, what direction, source to target or bidirectional, the frequency, real-time, daily batch, weekly, on-demand, and what transformation does it need? Does data need to be reformatted, validated, or enriched in transit? What's the error handling protocol? What happens when a record fails? Reject the badge, skip and log, alert someone? And who's got the ownership? Who owns the source side, target side, the connection itself? Now, this is an optional documentation. This is how you discover that what sounds like a simple file transfer is actually a complex transformation with 20 business rules. Step 3, complexity classification. Classify each integration. Standard, which is low complexity. When pre-built connector exists, it's a standard file format or CSV with clear specs. There's no transformation logic. It's single direction, and it's probably going to take 2 to 4 weeks. Moderate complexity are integrations that require API-based integration with documented endpoints. Moderate transformation or mapping with some business rules. And complex integrations are integrations with legacy systems, with poor documentation, older technologies that require significant transformation logic, third-party coordination, some expert consultants, think COBOL programmers, or certifications or approval processes with third parties. And it requires real-time or near real-time requirements. And it requires real-time or near real-time data transfer. So be honest about these classifications. When in doubt, classify higher. Step 4, critical path integration, which means build the integration process into your core project plan. Complex integrations go on the critical path. They start early, not after configuration is done, during configuration. So if an integration requires third-party engagement, like a state certification or a third-party vendor, initiate that engagement in month 1. Their timelines don't bend to yours. If an integration is high risk, build buffer time. And let's assume it will take longer than expected. If it doesn't, you're ahead. If it does, you're protected. Step 5 is explicit ownership. Every integration needs a named owner, not a team, a person. That person is accountable for the specifications, development or coordination, testing, documentation, and ongoing maintenance. If you can't name the owner, the integration will fall through the cracks. Step 6, you have to budget realistically. Integrations typically represent 15 to 25% of total implementation cost for organizations with moderate complexity. If your integration line item is 5% of budget, you've underscoped it. Calculate based on your complexity assessment. Add 20% contingency because integrations always surface surprises. Step 7, test end-to-end early. Don't wait until go live week to test integrations with real data. Run end-to-end integration tests at least 6 weeks before go live with real data, with real connected systems, with full transaction cycles. You will find problems. You want to find them early when you still have time to fix them. So here's what kills integrations, the common failure points, right? Here's the patterns that kill you. When you think the vendor's handling it, no, they're not. They're providing APIs. You're building connections. You're responsible for it. Read your contract. IT will figure it out. IT manages infrastructure. They're not integration developers. Do they have the skills, the capacity, the budget? And when you think it's just a file transfer, nothing is just a file transfer. What format, what fields, what validation, what error handling, what scheduling, what monitoring? And if you think we'll deal with it after go live, good luck. You cannot go live without integrations. If payroll doesn't get to the bank, you cannot go live. Integration is go live critical. And starting too late with complex integrations, that's disaster. If you start them 3 months before go live, you are behind. If you are in an implementation right now, stop and ask, where is the integration plan? Who owns each integration? What is the complexity assessment? Is it on the critical path? If you don't have good answers, you have a problem. And if you want to learn more about how to set a good project plan, click on this video. So tell me in the comments, have you lived through an integration disaster? What happened? Integration isn't glamorous. It doesn't demo well. It can't be demoed because the vendor hasn't integrated it. But vendors don't want to talk about it either. But it's where projects actually succeed or fail. If you want to go deeper on complex system integration, especially EAM system, enterprise asset management, where integration with work orders, inventory, and GIS gets especially complex, watch this video.